Welcome to the Funniest Person podcast about a little amateur contest in Minneapolis that has given us some of the funniest people in the entire country, and we're here with one of them. Maybe my favorite person.
What?
You might be. You and Mary Mack and Tim Harmston are like all in a real, like, I'm not saying you should each give me really good birthday presents this year, but I'm saying that could be the thing that tips the scale. It's so close.
Love it. Who's your least favorite person?
Oh, that's a long list. Honestly, I don't have one of those because it's more like a party bus full of people, and then there's another bus behind that. But there's like a Kia. There's a small Kia full of my favorite people, and it's you and Tim Harmson and Mary Mack.
We're going on a road trip.
You're going on a road trip.
God.
I would go on that road trip. I would go on that road trip.
I feel like we maybe have.
I think we probably have. The wedding, if nothing else.
There we go.
The wedding. We were pretty drunk there.
Of course we're drunk.
Of course, yeah. Andy Erikson is here, and to talk about the contest, and I'm very excited for many reasons, one of which is one of the first times I met you was right after the finals. Oh yeah, it was.
That was the first time you met me.
It was like the first time, but it was like it was literally one of the first times because I moved here in late August of 2008. So it was right before that, and he was at Grumpy's, and you had some sassy things to say.
So it's terrifying to know that was my first impression on anyone.
I loved it. It was great. I was like, this is fantastic.
Oh my God. I don't want to remember or relive any of that. Can we be done right now? I'm done. Thank you.
Oh, no, we're going to go through.
Awful.
I've got the game tape. We're going to break it down. No, not quite. Rick Logan is behind the curtain.
Oh,
no.
Fuck. My enemy.
Your mortal enemy.
Mortal enemy.
Yeah, so you started, so how long did you start comedy before you did the contest? You did the contest, obviously, for the record in 2008. I know that part.
Yeah, did the contest 2008. I started in 2007, literally the week they were doing the contest.
The finals?
My very first time ever doing stand-up was the finals week of the contest.
But not in the contest, just coincidence. Same thing for me. I moved here. That was the first one, and I heard about this contest, and I was like, I got to get in on this contest. And then they're like, no, it's literally done next week.
Okay, here, I didn't even know the contest was even a thing. I just was there that day, but it was great because you put a star by name, you get up. So maybe they thought I was like a contest person.
Sure.
So I got time. And so the crowd here is always fucking hot, but that was extra hot because every comedian was slaying with their best 3 minutes. It was slay, 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 slay. And then I go up and it's my first time ever. And the crowd was just fucking hot. And I went I got here like 3 hours early, signed up. I was first. So I was like the last 3-minuter before the 5. So I was amazing spot. And I just crushed. I had like this amazing fun set of everyone just doing their best time. I mean, obviously the time after I bombed and I cried on stage.
Well, that's how it always happens, right?
Yeah. I don't want to break too much. And I am completely giving all the credit to the audience, but it was like the energy was so hot and it was so great because it was the contest week.
Yeah, and that's when, like, for people who don't know, with the week, the Monday before, or now would be the Tuesday, but the open mic before the contest, if you're in the finals or the semifinals, they usually put pretty much everybody up who wants to practice. Yeah. And so if you get a bunch of, 5 or 10, depending on the week, really serious competitors, all those 3 minutes are like practice. They're tight. Yeah, they're good.
It's tight.
And yeah, so you ride that wave, and then you come in with like, first time energy is always so good. Like, I'm so excited to be here. Like everybody does that thing where it's
totally like, oh my God.
It's either that, or you're either the most lovely person the first time, or you're the worst person because you're like, I think I was the guy who came up and I was like, just like super filthy and loud and obnoxious. Like I'm sure because it's one or the other. But that first time energy, and then of course you think like this is how it always is, and then the second time there's no second time energy.
Yeah.
Now you're just some open micer.
Yeah. This is my second time. Like fucking go away. Like what are you still doing here? You were supposed to be done.
And you're like when do I get my special? Like I'm so good at this already.
Yeah, the reason I did comedy was because I thought I was funnier than everyone I saw on television.
Exactly. And you cried on stage or off stage the second time?
Oh, second time on stage at Willie's in Coon Rapids. It was the
environment. Well, I mean, that was just your body reacting to the scenario. You're like, your brain was sending out warnings that you were in danger.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you remember what made you cry on stage at Willie's specifically?
I was on stage and no one was paying attention. And
sure.
And I was just like, I'm awful. I suck. And I was just like, I thought someone might heckle me, and that made me cry. No one heckled. Honestly.
They were nice dirtbags for the most part there when there weren't shootings.
And then, there was not a gun that time that I remember.
There's a lot of stories at Willie's that ended with, and then someone pulled out a gun.
Yeah. And then.
That really is like the actual literal opposite experience of like you come here on a Monday, at the time was a Monday, and you have 300 people laser focused, all hoping that you're the best person ever, and then you go to Willie's and it's like a bunch of people trying to get drunk and watch the Sunday night football game, and you're talking.
Yeah. And then I went into the bathroom and I wrote an apology letter on a napkin. Apologize. Like, I'm so sorry I cried. And they brought me back up there and they're like, do one more joke. And I did my one more joke and everyone clapped and laughed.
Nice. So Daryl took a nice care of you.
Yeah.
Daryl was
Oh,
nice
yeah, it was
to you.
Daryl. Yeah.
Was it-
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Well, good. I'm not surprised that Daryl was very nice to you. And, you had to learn. But then if you became a Willie's regular, so, I'd see you there all the time. So it's not like we didn't shy away.
I loved it. No, I was not discouraged. I was like, I never want that to happen again, but I need to do it.
So once you found out there was the contest, when you were in, you do a few open mics, you start meeting people. Were you instantly like, oh, I'm prepping for that next year?
100%.
That's how I was.
100%.
It was everything. It was the shining light.
It was also like a couple, but also I will say it took a couple months for people to talk to me
Sure.
or be nice to me. They were like kind of standoffish. They're the cool Acme kids, whatever. Like they weren't rude, but we'd finish our set at Acme on Monday and everyone go, hey, let's all go do trivia tonight.
Green Mill.
They wouldn't say Green Mill. They just said, let's do trivia. And I was like, where? Where's the trivia? And no one told me. And like everyone was like, don't tell her. Please don't tell her. It took me, I think, a good several months to even a year to even get to go to Green Mill and do the trivia. The trivia was on these little machines. You were just sitting at a bar. It's not like you guys were playing like a fun. It was like, oh, we're just drinking and doing bar.
It was just because they had $2 slices and those cheap beers. That's the
beer. But no, I was not welcome. No one told me about the contest for a while. Then eventually I barely just got my way in. Just like, all right, she's not going anywhere. I guess we'll talk to her.
It's funny because when I moved here exactly 1 year later, and literally you were the most beloved person in all of Minneapolis comedy.
I worked so hard at it.
So it's hard for me to imagine because everyone's like, oh, this is Andy. She's the best, and it was like, oh, root for you.
I brought candy.
I know.
My mom bought comedians groceries.
Well, you ran the big after show hangout when you would have those poker parties.
I had poker parties.
Like that was the hangout after for a long time.
I put in my life and job became making friends. It wasn't even comedy. It was like comedy was a means to make friends. That's all it was.
But you worked on some jokes while you were at it.
I tried. I did.
And so that was because it's a great goal, I think, too, for your first year. It's like a weirdly good time to start is right before the finals, just so it makes you wait the longest possible time. But you can think about it the whole time.
It was literally, I would stay up late. My friend Marie Collette, who used to work here, I would stay at her house. Yeah, and we would sit and talk about how I was going to win it and how my life was going to change and just like how we would plan and like work. And she wouldn't really help me with jokes. She's like, whatever, you got it. But it was like all we talked about. And I was like, if I can win that contest, this is the most important contest in the entire world, in my entire life. This is all I need. If I can win this contest, it'll change my life. So I'm like turning down gigs, like, right. Because you couldn't get paid.
Right. So I would MC at Joke Joint, but I would do it for free.
Yeah, I did tons
Ken
of
would
free.
Ken would understand it. He'd always go, if you want to work for free, I'll let you.
Yeah, exactly.
But I need the reps, but I was like, I can't take this $25 because I don't want to not do the contest.
I did a Valentine's Day gig with Wayne Burfine and maybe Justin Caesar. And then we got there and at this gig and I was hosting and I was like, oh, so how much am I going to get paid? Or like, just like, what's the payment? Just, I can't take payment. They laughed. There's like, there's no money. Don't worry. And I was like, okay, cool. And then they did actually give us free food and we ate the food and we found out, oh no, the food's not free. So I was like excited, my big Valentine's Day gig, I'm doing it. And like, oh, I have to pay $14 for some steak. That I'm like, I lose money.
That never ends. I was actually at a Valentine's Day gig this month or this last weekend. And this lady was like, oh, the food's really good here. Here's the menu. Can I get you anything? And I was like, well, what's the deal? And she just wouldn't come out and say if it was free or not. So I just didn't eat.
Yeah, no.
Like, I'm not taking a risk.
I don't take that risk.
I don't really want anything that bad for money. But so then now that the contest comes around, so now so you're ready. Do you sign up right away? Are you like the first week of the first round?
No, I knew I had been talking and doing so much that I knew to kind of wait.
I always tell people that, and no one ever listens to me. I say, don't sign up the first week.
Yep.
You can sign up. You can sign up in July and still do the contest. Like, give it a month. Let all the really, really, really strong people burn themselves out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you sweep on in there in the middle with all the people who just impulsively tried it.
Yep. So that's totally true. And then it's also true, like, you're so stressed out. And I didn't notice at the time that I was worried that what if I couldn't do the date they gave me or whatever. And I don't want to like make things harder for Acme, but like if you can't make it, it's not the end of the world. You can sign up again and do a different day.
Yeah, just tell them. They're like, we'll find another one. They'll just bump you to August. There's always a couple late August spots where like the people petered out a little bit. Like Yeah, they make it work easy, but of course at the time you're like, I don't want to do anything wrong.
You just don't want to upset and you want to rock the boat. But it's like everyone's super chill. And it's like, and then too, like you get here and it's like, my main advice is don't be late because if you're late, they put you on first.
Yes, that is a big deal. And just in general in comedy, don't be late.
Just don't be late.
Don't be late in comedy, and for any new job, but especially comedy, don't be late.
Don't be late.
It's funny too because being late in comedy means you weren't somewhere by 7:30 at night. It's a little different, when it's like, oh, the morning commute really got me. It's like the sun has been down for 2 hours. How are you not here?
You're going against traffic to come into the city.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, so that's not a good look. So your first round, you show up. Did you win your first round?
Yeah, I had a great set. It was super fun. I did my jokes. It was great.
Everything. And at this point, you've been doing the mic. You got on.
Oh yeah.
How often did you get on before that?
Every time I've ever signed up.
Really?
I know it sucks.
You've really gotten on every time? So you never didn't get on?
No, I don't know what that's like. Is that weird? What is that?
I love when you get cocky. That's awesome.
What?
No,
you don't get on?
That makes you the only other person I know who can say that is Brooks.
Brooks, yep, he got out. Yep,
because Brooks won
that.
the contest so fast, and he was hired right away.
Yep.
So you and Brooks don't know what it's like to write your name on a piece of paper and not tell a joke here.
No, we know what it's like to be freaks and outcasts, but we don't know and to feel left out and like, who's this weirdo?
That's incredible.
But yeah,
so you must have been pretty good from the beginning.
I had spent multiple years writing jokes before ever doing stand-up. So I had never performed before I came here, but I wrote blogs and one-liners. So I had, I think, 300 blog posts, each with 10 jokes. So I'd written 3,000 jokes before ever doing stand-up. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, I had that behind me. So I didn't know what was good and what wasn't good, but I knew how to write, how to think that way.
Well, anytime you hadn't written any new jokes, you could just go back and go, I'll try these 20 and see if any one of them works.
I haven't gone through them all. Like, I have so many jokes. I have thousands of jokes.
Did you write them when you were initially writing them? Were you thinking at some point, maybe I'll tell these out loud?
I originally wanted to be a writer for SNL, so I didn't even want to be a comic. So I was writing like comedy jokes and bits, and someone said, oh, if you want to be on SNL, you should do stand-up. And that's like your way in. So I was like, okay, I'll do stand-up. But then I just fell in love with joke writing.
Sure.
And then I posted them on MySpace. So then I would get feedback on MySpace.
Wow. So it was really like Twitter before Twitter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yep.
That's really interesting because I was kind of the same way, but my thing was instead of, it was remember Dave Barry? He would write those humor columns in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And they were just like really funny little things. Like that was the closest as a in the country living in the South. Like, because there was no stage, there was no nightclub. So it was like, well, you could like write a funny thing and send it to the paper. So I would like kind of write those, but it was like, it would be more fun to like tell these.
That's pretty cool though, yeah.
But yeah, so I've done the same thing. So I'd written a lot of jokes before I said them, but then when I said them, I was so bad at saying them. It took so long to stop being bad at I remember people would be really nice to me early on, and they would be like, you can clearly write.
Yeah, you are a good writer.
All of my compliments are very laser focused.
Yeah, the writing is good.
But especially one-liners, I always say in the contest and in early sets when you're first starting comedy.
Great for contests.
They're great because you can pack so many of them in, and you can practice them all over and figure out exactly like these are the 7 best ones.
Well, and if a joke works, it basically works forever. Not always, things change, whatever, and the way you say it can change it. But like if you have a solid one-liner, that goes in your act. So like I do encourage people to write one-liners because a lot of people don't. It's a weird skill. They want to do stories. But also, too, there's so many people who think that comedy can't be learned or taught, and I get that. But if someone writes a good joke, that joke is theirs, and that becomes them. And if you write enough really good jokes, you're a comic.
Yeah, I've heard it said that anybody who's really determined to do comedy, if you really genuinely care about it, anybody can become a viably decent feature act in 10 years. Like now, the headliner, you got to have some. You got to have some spark. You got to, you got to have a little something special. But now you might gain those skills over that time.
Yeah.
But even somebody who's not that talented, but who works really hard, because like you said, if you just write, you can learn to write jokes by structure, and eventually you're going to stumble onto one.
Yep.
And if you keep keeping them, and while you stumble onto them, eventually you got an act.
You got an act. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So you might be missing like that one thing that draws people to you or like compels people, and that's what I think I kind of had was like, I'm just a little bit different. And like, that's what kind of sets me apart. And then but I also fucking work my butt off.
Totally.
And like so many comics in our scene, we work so hard. But it's also like we have the luxury to work hard. I mean, I was in school and I went from all A's, D list to C's and F's.
Was your mom a little upset?
She was like, as long as you graduate, I guess.
Because she's always been so supportive of comedy, obviously. But I can see a parent being like, well, it'd be kind of nice of you. Because I know you were like a mathlete in high school. Your letter jacket's covered in like pi symbols and diagrams.
I finished Calc 2 in like 11th grade. Like I had finished all my college level math before college. Yeah, I love school. That's also what makes you good at comedy, if you just love
a lot of homework if you're in doing the writing. And I think, and me and Kostaki Economopoulos talk about this a lot of joke writing is like math.
It is.
You go topic A, topic B. How do I combine these in an interesting way? And like,
it's math, and then also having the guts to say something stupid.
Yep, it's math with a little magic on it.
Yeah,
it's like there has to be a little ethereal thing to it.
Yeah.
But like when you're writing the joke, it's like, no, I can imagine you, like late night jokes, you lay out the topic and you go, what about this? What about this? You try them out.
Yeah, it's super vulnerable. It's math with being vulnerable.
Totally, yeah, and so that's so that makes sense. So you crush the first round. You're rolling.
I'm golden.
You had your set. Did you do the same set every round?
I did. I mixed it up a little bit, but I had a lot of the same jokes. But I remember mixing it up.
Trailer Park? Was
Trailer
that theme park?
Open up.
I mean, that's like as vintage an Andy Erikson joke.
That's my opener. I've done that on TV. Like that's my opener.
It's a great joke.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I saw it, just being like, well, I can't believe no one thought of that. In 2,000 years of humanity, and then she just nailed it. Like, the best jokes are both like obvious, but like no one thought of that till now. What the hell? Like,
see, and whenever I come with jokes, I don't even check to see if anyone thought of it first, because there's a billion people now on Twitter writing jokes, so maybe someone had, but I never heard
of it. But I think the best jokes are the ones that I don't have very few one-liners. One of mine about wouldn't it be romantic if we died together?
Yeah.
Like, I was convinced someone must have done that before, but like
That's
no
funny.
one's. It must not have, I guess.
And it doesn't even, I think if you thought of it on your own in maybe 10, 20, who cares? 30 people all have the same joke all around the world and you never see them. It's like, whatever, put it in your ass.
Comics care about that so much less than like audience members who think, I saw somebody who's got a slightly similar bit to yours. It's like, I bet you did.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, nice story. I remember one time me and, Mike, what's his name from Detroit? A really funny guy. I can't remember his last name.
Trout?
No, but he's funny. But it was Mike from Michigan, and he was really funny, and we had a sort of similar
That's a
bit.
baseball player.
Yeah, he didn't have as a baseball player. And somebody pointed it out to us, and we were hanging out, and they go, "Hey, you guys both do a bit about that." And I go, "How about if we ever do a show, we both don't do that joke on the same show?" And he goes like, "Deal." And that's it.
We're done. Yep.
And I don't think either of us do the joke anymore. Who cares?
But I remember being quote unquote an elitist, where I wanted my jokes to be just so different, so like. I just like no one would ever think of that, but then that doesn't always connect with people. If like
it can get so abstract, that it's not relatable. It's like, but your best jokes have like the relatable thing with the weird twist on it. Where you're like, well, no one would have thought of that weird twist.
Yeah,
but it's about a thing that we all talk about. That's a tricky balance. That takes a while.
And I have so many jokes where I'm like, this is so stupid. No one's ever gonna like it, and then they love it. Or I have a joke like, this is amazing, and it's like. No,
and it never connects. That's always that's always.
But that's what's fun is like I have a thing in my brain. I throw a lot. I'm sure a lot of comedians do. Where it's like rejection doesn't affect me as much. Like obviously I hate being rejected, but like if something goes bad, I think maybe it's because my memory is so bad that I just forget.
Goldfish superpower.
Honestly, I think that's what it is. Because like if I sit and like think about it too long, I'm like, oh God. But then I'm just like.
I've kind of the same way. Like if a set goes really bad, or you do an audition and you don't get it, you go, well,
don't even remember.
You don't get most things. That's how I always think. You don't get most things.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised when you don't.
I'm just remembering an email I sent to this like executive, and he did not reply, and now I'm like really sad that he hates me.
I know. I think
Damn it. But
honestly,
otherwise,
a short memory is like legitimately
That's
kind of
important.
helpful.
Tell that to anyone listening. Have a really horrible memory.
Yeah.
And
if your memory's good, smoke a lot of weed.
So smoke tons of weed.
Eat a lot of edibles.
Have your jokes memorized for your set, guys. Come on, it's 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's always frustrating. With the take out the phone and look at the phone, and then it's 3 minutes.
As someone, I probably did take out my phone before. I was notes at the time.
It was notes. It was
phone.
We weren't that rich.
2008.
So now the second round? Did you win the second round?
No.
But you made the finals.
I did make the finals.
But you didn't win the second round. See, that's the thing I think I forgot.
That's the night I spiraled.
The second round was the spiral?
See, you got it all wrong, baby. The second night, I lost.
It was a Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Wednesday.
Because I saw you at Grumpy's.
'Cause
That's how I
went
know.
to
Because I was always
Grumpy's.
remembered, why were you so mad and drunk about the contest
Yeah.
on a Wednesday when the contest finals were on a Tuesday? I always thought you were like still mad and drunk from the night before in my memory. No, it was before. You're right. It was the semifinals. Because that's the first time I met you. Because you came in, well, you did the semis.
So first of all, none of this happened. But anyways, I did my night at Acme. It was the semifinal night, and I was. Everyone told me I was gonna win.
You were the favorite. You were. I mean, even just
was,
being here for 3 weeks or whatever, I knew like she's the favorite to win the contest.
There's tons of funny comics, but whatever. They're shit. They are. I'm sorry. There was honestly, I don't even understand why.
See, this was what Wednesday was like when you were drunk. It was so fun.
It's coming back. There was really no point of even having a contest. It was super weird. I was like, this is weird. Like a weird
Why are they making me wait for my
like,
crown and my sash?
You guys know me. You see me. You know how funny I am. I'm stage presence. Weird, but perfect. Joke quality. Original. You can't dock points on original. Are you kidding me? I meow once. That's later, but it's in me. What are the other ones? Like just audience response, boom, 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 applause break. Like seriously, there's just
I did
no
14
contest.
jokes in 3 minutes, and they
There
all crushed.
you go,
And what's your
you're
problem?
all crying. I leave, and everyone gets up after. There's just everyone leaves the showroom after I'm done because the show's over.
Yeah, even though it's 7.5 minutes in, about 20 minutes in.
and I've only done 3.
So you
did my set, and I had a great set. Like I had a great set, and then this asshole, JD Provorst, comes in. And fine. He does fine. He does fine.
He had the temerity to have a good set on the same night that you had a good set.
Yeah, and the
gall, the unmitigated gall of JD
he
to do his jokes, to drive here from Fargo 4 hours to do his
that
jokes.
Guy, stay back in your own state. Like, get out of here. Like, what are you doing? This funniest person in Twin Cities. I'm the funniest person in Bungbuck nowhere. Like, yeah, you're the funniest person in Fargo. Good job. I'm the funniest person in the Twin Cities. You get out of here. I'm gonna win this, and you're ruining it for me. So he won. He won the night, and they announced the winners and whatever. And I didn't get like my hat or my cozy or whatever it was.
But you thought, I'm out of this contest.
I thought I was out, and I remember being like, I'm out because I thought you had to win. I thought you had to win to move on.
Sure.
And then even here's how much of an asshole I am. Even at Grumpy's, you're like, or Willie, or
Grumpy's. Oh, it was Grumpy's.
Even at Grumpy's, you guys were like, no, it's like the top scores. And I was like, if that motherfucker had a score high enough to get in, there's no way he had a score high enough to get in. I saw his set, and I'm lower than him because I was just ragging on him.
You were
like,
so mad.
I was like, he ain't shit. And I got a lower score than him. There's no way he's top 25. So that means I'm not top 25. Like, it's over. It's over. I turned down $75 in gigs for this. I could have had I was so pissed. I was just so pissed. I was like, I had been working up for this and I was like, I have to wait a whole nother year. I was like, I got to wait a whole nother year to win this contest and continue on with my life. I got hammered.
It was like you were basically like somebody who like tripped and fell at the Olympics, and now you're like, I gotta wait 4 more years till the next Olympics.
I tripped and fell, and then they're like, here's a beer. And then like people were just giving me drinks too, and I'm sure I was taking them. I don't know where.
You were?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You were. It was everyone was like 20% not worried about you in a serious way, but it's like, oh, I hope she's not taking this too hard. But you were just being so funny about it. I just remember everyone being like, everyone was just loving it. Chris Maddock was just like crying, laughing.
Yeah, I was
you were just
going off on everybody.
And you went off on stage and just basically roasted everyone in the Minneapolis comedy scene.
Anyone. You put someone in front of me.
You were pointing people. Like, you was like a wrestler who's like high on HGH. You were just like, I'll fight anybody. Like fighting the ladies and the ring girls, man.
And then I remember going on, like, I was like, I am faster, I am stronger, I am funnier, and I am Weezer. Like, I just remember saying
it was so funny.
And I remember too then that was like the fun, like, what for you guys fun, like she's going crazy, having fun. But then I got a ride home and I crawled up I was the passenger seat. I crawled up onto the floor underneath the glove box and crawled up under there. And I was like, my mom won't love me anymore because I'm not funny. And I was like, she brought a stuffed animal to give me for my set, but because I lost, she gave it to JD. And I was like, I am the worst, which I just made that up. Like, she gave me the stuffed animal, but I was just like living in this pity party of like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to a human being was losing the semifinals.
Which is funny because, as we know, it's like it turns out in the arc of one's comedy career, it's a great contest. It's important early.
Stupid contest. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it's shit. I don't know who runs.
This is what happens when you go against Andy Erikson. You get run over.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. It's just a money grab, really.
But then once you found out, we'll put this in Lewis's bio.
He's not gonna listen to this.
We're gonna edit it together. We're gonna get a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of scotch, and we're gonna listen to all 8 hours of it in a row.
No, you're not.
Cut it together like old film editors. Probably not.
Edit this out.
This is going on the roll just for Lewis.
No,
so now you're devastated. Who drove you home, by the way? Do you remember?
I think I had probably a group of people. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, we would all give you, because you lived in Dinky Town, we would all give you rides back there all the time.
Yeah, no.
But I didn't know you well enough to drive you home, and I was also probably still a little bit afraid of you after the drunken roast.
I'm trying to remember if I was living on campus, so it's not like I was going home to my mom. So I was going, maybe I walked. I don't know. I probably I was in a car at some point. I think I'm glad people found it entertaining, because it would have really sucked if everyone was like, this girl's crazy.
It was delightful. And then you get the email that says, welcome to the finals.
Yeah. And
were you excited? Did you feel a little dumb or?
Yeah, I was just so happy.
Sure.
And I remember coming to Acme, and I found out because I think I went to I was at the show, because when they announced it, they announced like...
they announced it on the Saturday, right?
Yeah.
They used to announce it at the end of the Saturday show, and then the email would go out that night.
Yeah. So like someone had told me, and I was like, what? And I was like so excited. Like I was like, because then that made me top 5, not even top 25.
No, top 5.
I was like,
So obviously JD also made it, because it's
top 5.
No, it's you and JD and Rick Logan. And do you remember the other 2 people?
Was Linda Ahrens that year?
She might have been.
Yeah.
She might have been.
And I can't remember.
I didn't see the finals that year, but that would make sense that Linda was in it.
I think it was Linda Ahrens, and I can't, maybe Pat much, but I think he was later.
He was later in the finals anyway. He might have done the prelims that year. He did a couple years.
So I don't, but that's what
And Brandy wasn't in the finals that year.
Maybe she was.
She was the year before, but not that year. Because I was talking to her about it, because she was off the year before that I was in it the next year.
Yeah.
So it's good final. So now it's like you got a reprieve from the governor, right? Now you're back on.
I was just like, honestly, I'm so glad I got that out of my system, because it was just like, okay, I learned a lot about like expectations and just professionalism, like I'm, and I did my set, or the show was like, I was so excited, I was so nervous, like even at every set throughout the contest, like I'm just so nervous, because I do have a really bad memory, and I'm like, in my head I was like, if I can just remember my jokes,
sure,
I'll be okay. And I think I drew like second, which I was fine with, because I remember just being like, I don't want to go first, because also I like people having something to compare me to.
I think it's helpful.
Yeah, and it is hard for anyone to go first. So it's like
first is always the worst spot in any contests. It's just a universal thing.
Yep.
It's always true.
Yep.
It's not that you can't win out of first.
No, but it's a
little harder.
It's a little harder.
It is. Going last isn't that bad, especially if you're even as good as everybody and go last, you look like you're better than everybody.
Yeah, going last ain't bad. That's good. Yeah, and it's 3-minute sets, and they also had an MC do 7 to 15 or whatever. So the crowd's warm, and it's Acme, so it's like,
finals night's always packed.
Yeah, so it's fun, and so I did my set though, but I just wasn't connecting. Like I did my jokes, and I think it was a similar sets before, and I just don't know. In the moment I felt it, and I got done. And I was like, yeah, that wasn't a winning set. I was bummed. I kind of knew. Like I was
interesting.
I got done. I was like, I felt it, and I was like, I did the best I could. Like I was a completely different human being from the Wednesday before. Yeah,
because the one before you were like, that was the winning set. Like you felt like that was the set.
Yeah. And all I remember, and so like after my set too, I was kind of, and I watched, and I remember like Rick Logan had an amazing set, so I kind of like I knew he was gonna win. Like I knew
so
it
wasn't like you were standing on the stage listening to the results and you were like, what?
No, oh God, no. I'm so glad that didn't happen. Yeah, because I wouldn't have held it in. I would have grabbed the mic and been like, "Are you fucking kidding?"
You would have Kanye'd him like he was T Swift.
Yeah. By the way, yeah. But no, I think I'd grown up a lot in that week. So I acknowledged that, like, yeah, I didn't get my best. But then when they were announcing like to get second, I was like surprised and happy about it. I was like, because I think my scores must have added up, even though the audience response wasn't necessarily as
Yeah.
high.
Originality is a huge part of it. Yeah.
Stage presence, whatever, like the magic. I don't know. So I had an okay set, and yeah, Rick Logan crushed it, and I think I got an iPad, so like it wasn't that sad.
That's
Like,
not too
it was
bad.
pretty dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had a fun time. But then too, I was still kind of like afterwards, I was planning like, okay, so I'm gonna do the contest next year. Like I was still like, I'm gonna do it again because I gotta
Sure.
win. Um, yeah, and I was just, you know, ready for the next phase of my life, but still kind of thinking of doing the contest again.
But then, of course, you were hired here within the year.
They asked me to do a Christmas show that December.
I wrote about it for City Pages. It was the first thing I ever wrote about at City Pages.
That's so fucking cool.
You and Cy with Chad Daniels.
Yeah.
And I came on Christmas night. I was supposed to go home for Christmas
Yep.
and I got snowed out or whatever. And so I was like, we're going to Acme. And I remember coming, I remember sitting literally in that chair right there watching you and Cy. And it was the closest. At the time, I didn't know hardly anybody in comedy, right?
Okay.
But I knew you. We talked a little bit at
Yeah.
Acme. You knew a little bit. And I kind of knew Cy. Cy didn't really like me at the time, but we're friends now.
He didn't like me either.
But we were, but it was seeing you guys on stage here, like at a paid show. It was like I saw people on Tuesday, but like seeing you guys appear at the
Yeah.
weekend show and all the everybody was drinking and dressed nice. It was like
It was
they're
so
doing it. Oh
fun.
my God, Andy's on stage.
No, yeah, and it was such a fun show. So then, I think then because I got paid to do that gig, then I couldn't do the contest, and I was like, okay, obviously. But people told me like, oh, that means you'll probably be hired soon. But like, I was so naive that like when I thought to get hired as an MC, you know what I thought that meant? Get hired to do the back mic.
Oh, you
That's
thought you
what
were
I
going to get hired to
thought.
do the announcements. And
Yes,
that's
what
really
I thought.
funny.
That's what I thought.
But you're like, well, that's where you got to start.
yeah, that's where I thought you started. That's the MC.
I'll
the
learn
guy
to
who
pronounce
announces.
Kostaki Economopoulos.
Which honestly wasn't that far off because when they hired me, I was the MC. Like I did,
You hosted
I
the
announced
mic,
the names. Yeah. So actually, that's what the host does. But it was like I did what the back mic did, but I did it on stage.
That's great. So you learned a lot in that 1 year, and that really,
Mhm.
I mean, we're talking September would have been the semifinals, or the last week
Yep.
of August into September,
Mhm.
and then you're on stage on Christmas week
Yeah.
working here. That's a pretty tight window. There's only a couple of months there between.
Yeah. And then they hired me to like work the open mics in like April or May of that spring.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So then
Yeah.
I got hired on as a full-time MC, and then was working here. And then I got but yeah, I thought you had to win the contest to get hired here too.
A lot of people did at the time,
Yeah.
and I was kind of there was a thought, because Eric and Brooks especially had just won and gotten hired,
Yeah.
that there was an assumption,
Yeah.
not an accurate one, but there was an assumption
Mhm.
that if you won, that it was like, it wasn't official, but it was like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
gonna be,
you're
you're
in,
in.
you're in.
That's how they were scouting. When of course I've talked to Lewis since, and he's just like, no. He's like, it's nice, it's cool if the person that I would like to hire won the
Yeah, yeah,
contest. I'm
yeah.
like, I don't.
And he's gonna let him do the he's not gonna
Or some
be
people
like,
do well in the contest and get hired 3 years later too. I mean, it's not a 1-to-1, but I definitely had that thought, and that's to me, that was what the number one spot was. I mean,
yeah.
I wanted the $1,000. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Wanted that $1,000, but I
Honestly,
wanted the hire.
Yeah.
I would have won the contest for free if I could just be an MC.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah, and it's a great opportunity to get up in front of Lewis, and at the time he used to sit in the back and watch. I think now they tape
Yeah.
sets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was like,
I watch this from a control room
yeah,
somewhere in an undisclosed
Yeah,
location.
it's just
There's a little button again. I'm still convinced there's a button that could make the stage drop open. If
Yeah.
it's like, it hasn't happened yet, but one
Yeah.
day I'm gonna assassinate Abishire one too many times, and I'm gonna fall into the alligator pit that's been down here.
I always assumed it was Lewis who controls the light, just from like
That would be
wherever
amazing if he could
is,
just flick the lights
just
on. It's like, no, get this guy off of here.
got a
So
button.
how did so then, of course, several years later, you went on to do fantastic in Last Comic Standing.
Mm.
You were in the finals, which means you got to be in all the big shows and on the tour and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How did the contest at Acme, did that like help prep you for a bigger contest like that?
It prepared me to learn that contests are stupid and pointless and just awful. Which they are, but that's the mindset you need, I think, to do well in them, is to not take them too seriously
Yep.
and to just have fun. But still, you're gonna be nervous. Like,
Yeah.
everyone doing the contest, I get it. This is for you, like, and for me, it was the most important thing, and you care so much. But at the end of the day, you don't need to win. You don't even need to do good to have a good life or to be a good comic.
Yeah, we talked to Tommy Ryman earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy who didn't make it out of the first round and then was hired within like 6 months.
Yeah.
And obviously doing quite well for himself, old Tommy Ryman.
God, Tommy.
But yeah, but I think you're right though.
Yeah.
It's like I never want to undersell the importance to people of contests because
they do change
a
your life.
reality of and there's a lot of contests that aren't called contests, but like, hey, Conan O'Brien's producer or whatever is in the audience. They're looking for people. There's 20 comics on a showcase. That's a contest.
Yeah.
Everything's a contest in a way. And
you
so
have to be able to perform under pressure.
Yes.
And that was for last Comic Standing. Yeah. It was just a ton of pressure. But the odds are so low that it's like you can't. In that case, I couldn't go in there and be like, I'm going to win this. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
I got it. Which there were people in there who could feel that way, like
sure.
And pros, it's like they're like, what am I doing? Like, I'm going to win this. But like, no, you kind of go in there and you just do your best and hope you connect. And then, it's just it is so stressful. Every contest, I say I'm never doing another one after every one. But
then something comes up.
Yeah,
so that's why I tell people it's actually good to do contests because it's just good practice for those high pressure situations.
A good point.
There's no way to practice high pressure without a little pressure.
That's true.
And you might tell yourself you don't care about any given contest, which is what I tell myself anytime I'm in them. But the moment before you're going on stage, when you want everyone to like you the best, and you want everyone to shine the spotlight on you, you're going to be like, I want to win it.
Yeah,
you do. You want to win.
You asked people at Grumpy's that Wednesday if I care about contests. No. What? Are you insane? I don't care. Like, I cared too much. I cared way too much.
But that's the lesson, right?
Yeah,
but you're right. Like caring too much can be as bad as not caring enough.
That's the flip side. Because you don't want your mental state to be so wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Because you are going to experience so much rejection. It's such a big part of it. So just forget that things. And then like with this, I don't ever want to think about it again. I did it. It's immortalized. I don't have to remember it. I can move on.
And I remember you telling me something really interesting about last comic, which is that you said that basically everyone was like, because the year you won it, Clayton won it.
Yeah.
And then you guys were all just like, Clayton's going to win it.
Oh, yeah. He was so good.
But there was I remember talking to you about it during the thing, and you were just like, oh, no, it's fine. I'm happy to be here. Clayton's going to win.
Yeah. And we did what sucks is we taped the final taping. I had a great set. Like, I think everyone had great sets.
Yeah.
But at Last Comic Standing, they film multiple endings so that no one knows the ending. And they filmed an ending with me winning.
I didn't know that.
They dropped confetti. They brought up people from the audience.
But you knew you didn't.
No.
Right. Oh, you didn't know?
I thought I won. And you know what?
That's kind of psychotic.
It is psychotic.
I understand if they want to fake it. I get it. But they got to be like, they got to let you in on the gag.
Nope.
It's like faking the moon landing and not telling Neil Armstrong that he's not on the moon. He's so happy. He thinks he's on the moon. Stanley Kubrick.
See, that's what they want. So
that's crazy.
So they do the first one, and then they said we're gonna tape it twice. They tell us we're just gonna tape it twice, as in like we're gonna get it two takes. So they have Clayton go up and win, and we're all like, "Yep, I knew it. Way to go, Clayton! Great job." So then they're like, "All right, we're gonna do one more time," and then they're announcing, and then they announce Clayton third, and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I'm so confused. And then they announce Dominique second. And then they announced me first.
Whoa.
And then they dropped confetti. And I was just like, I don't think they dropped confetti for him. Or maybe they did. They did drop confetti. But for me, they had a bunch of the second people who made it to the finals come on stage with us.
Oh, wow.
So then they had other comics up. And then also the host, Anthony Jeselnik, hands me the thing that he read that says, congrats to the winner of Last Comic Standing, like Andy Erikson.
Framed this and put it in your office for life.
Congrats. And he was like, way to go. I knew you were going to do good. Like, here you go.
Whoa.
So I thought I won, but I didn't know. So we were told like it's either Clayton or you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got a genuine reaction out of me.
I'm sure they did.
I was like,
I gotta say, I would much rather be the person, if I'm not gonna win, just have me in the I didn't win category. I don't want to be in the, it's me or him.
Thinking your life's just so changed. Like, so changed.
Because you get a TV deal out of that.
Yeah, and Clayton used his money and bought a PlayStation 4. Like, he had it on the tour bus. And he's had other TV writing jobs. Like, his career, I've had other cool things happen. But yeah, it was definitely a game changer.
There's no doubt that winning LCS. Now, I would say that being in the finals is a game changer as
It's
well.
huge, too.
Just being in the finals
totally was.
definitely is huge.
That was
but
a nice
undeniably
cushion.
winning that,
Yeah.
truly winning it is gonna have a ripple
Yeah.
effect, and who
Yeah.
would not want that? That's crazy
Yeah,
that they
so
did that. How
I
did I
got-
not know that?
I got second, and then I went to Grumpy's, and I fucking laid into it. I was like, Clayton, fuck you.
That's why they tore Grumpy's down. You
Yeah,
burned it
I
down with
did.
your pure
That
anger.
was me. That was me. I came back.
Wow.
No, I didn't. I
That's
was like,
I'm fascinated by
yeah,
that.
isn't that weird? But it's for TV, you know.
Well, you have a very good attitude about it. I'm glad. I'm glad your memory's short because I would still be mad.
But here's the thing: I talk about it in my act, and we're not I've told that story. Like I was so mad, and we're not supposed to talk about any of that. I'm not supposed to be telling you guys that they tape multiple endings. Like that's TV's supposed to be real. And I tell people, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You're gonna sue me? I don't have any money.
Yeah.
But, like, come after
The
me.
show's not even on anymore.
It'll be better for my career if there's a lawsuit from NBC against me, because
yeah.
then they'll be taking my phone calls. So I
You'll
don't
be in a
know.
room with some big time producers.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So whatever. Contest.
So in retrospect, getting second place in the semifinals of the Acme contest
Mhm.
really not that bad.
No, no. At least they didn't drop confetti on me and tell me I won, and then go, just kidding, it's this guy.
Whoa.
But yeah, it was the buffer too in that. It's like, see, I had the consolation prize. I worked at Acme. Consolation prize of getting second or whatever. Or actually, technically, then it was third. Yeah, third. But everyone got
They only know
second.
the winner
They
in
only
the
know it's the
finals.
winner.
Yeah.
So all of us said we were second for a while, but then people were like, no, you should probably tell people you're third. I'm like, the second sounds so cool.
They dropped confetti on me.
Yeah, I was like, I got confetti dropped on me. I should have got second. But yeah, so then we got to do the tour, and that was amazing. Like after that, I was like, okay, I can be done with comedy. Once you do a tour where you're with 5 comics living on a bus, doing theaters, where you only have to do 20 minutes.
That's the best of all possible worlds.
And you got fans coming up to you after, and you're doing like events and fun things and radio shows, and we went to Disney World, we went to Hawaii, like it was like 80 shows in 90 days all over the country.
Incredible.
Honestly, yeah. And I remember like closing my eyes and taking it in. I can still remember being backstage, the lights. It was like, yeah, like that's what I wish everyone could experience that as a comic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that makes up for the confetti.
It does. It does.
Although again, they could have just not.
Come on, no confetti. Just no confetti. Don't.
There should be like a law that if confetti drops on you, you have to get something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but you have to get something.
Gotten, a little more money than SAG minimum, I guess. Which at least is better than some years they didn't get any money. But I'll take SAG.
Any
minimum.
any advice for people doing the Acme contest?
I mean, it's do it. It's I think whatever your weight is, divide it by 10, and that's how many beers you should have before. No, just kidding. After.
That's actually, you know what? That's actually pretty good because like I'm about $1.80.
Yeah.
So you go like I should have 1.8 beers before on stage. That's actually the amount that I'm best at is about 1.8 beers.
I don't know how good you are at math. I think that.
You've seen me. You've seen me mad. I don't know about good, but you've seen me mad.
That's true. Oh man. Yeah.
No, that's very good advice.
I think you should come to shows here as much as possible. Like watch other comics. And what I do too, like obviously you don't want to be disruptive, but while you're watching shows, you can be thinking of material too and like letting things spark like ideas and constantly be thinking of jokes, but just be inspired by other don't steal, but you know what I mean?
No,
like,
but if you watch a lot of
come to
comedy, your brain
shows.
starts thinking in terms of comedy, and
Yeah.
then when you go home
Yeah,
and
keep
your
thinking about it.
avocado's underripe and you go, I have thoughts about this avocado
Yeah.
or whatever. You got to put your brain in
Yeah.
that space. You know,
Harness the power of open mics, and it's like there's so much value in it. So like I mean, it sucks to be I didn't have to experience coming to Acme and not getting on stage, but like I still have sat through open mics and know that it's not necessarily the easiest or funnest thing to do all the time, but there's so much value in watching comedy. Like so if to take that opportunity to come to Acme, even if you're not on, and just to watch and be surrounded by comedy or any show, like I go to shows where I'm not on all the time. It's like just to take it all in and, to be a part of the comedy scene. And it's like anything, if you love it enough, you'll work hard at it. If you're not coming and doing enough shows and working at it, you're not going to get better. So it's like, you just have to commit and know that the odds of making it are just low no matter what, but
depending on your definition of making it too.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're just here to have fun and make friends, which was my goal, like I just literally wanted to make some friends. maybe find a boyfriend. And I did. I found my husband.
So congratulations. It all worked out.
There
And you got
go.
married on this stage.
And I got married on this stage.
And they dropped confetti, and it turned out he married another lady. It was a real jerk-ass move.
Yeah, then I went to Grumpy's and was like, fuck that bitch. She sucks. She's a whore. Fuck. Oh, if we ever get divorced, ooh. I'm going to, yeah. That ain't
You're just going to go to that apartment complex where Grumpy used to be and rant at people in the lobby. This is my yeller space.
I am way cooler, funnier, taller, more interesting-er.
Well, that is good advice, and hopefully may all the confetti in your future be genuine. That is my fortune cookie wish for you.
Thank you so much. Also, follow me on Twitter.
Yes. One of the best. No, seriously, one of the best on Twitter. What is your Twitter handle?
Just Andy Erikson. My name, Andy Erikson. Also, who makes the list Tuesdays? Because you spell my name wrong. There's always a C in my name, and I know you're punking me, but you spell my name wrong, and then Chel Bjorgen right after me spelled correctly. I don't understand. So if anyone could there's no C in my last name, just respect me as a human and spell my name right. AndyErikson. There's no C.
And if you don't, she will show up and yell at you.
I will find you.
As we've attested.
I know. There's always going to be a C in my fucking last name.
Well,
I know it. I see my name on the list. And I'm like, oh, who's up tonight? It's not me.
I think next time on the list, they're going to spell your name Andeeee, and then
Stop
Erikson with a K.
Stop it. No. That's stupid. I'm going to spell your name with an I.
Just don't spell it with a Nate Abshire and we'll be fine.
There we go. I just spelled Nate.
Well, thanks for coming in,
Yeah,
doing the pod.
Thanks for having me.
This was great. And we'll talk to you soon. Everybody come out and see Andy soon.
Woo!